horribly the first time, then I'll hand it off to you.
Okay.
Hey, guys and gals.
And cut.
All right.
Holy shit. Dude. Did you take off your fucking top hat to start that? Or?
Yeah, it was a good time, honey, under the sky. Yeah, it was a good time, honey, just you and I. Feeling alright.
Hey, guys and gals. Thanks for joining us again at All Wheels Podcast. I'm joined with my good buddies, Max and Evan.
Hey.
Yo.
Tonight we're talking about EVs, so electric vehicles, whether it's two wheels or four wheels, kind of what our thoughts are, and dive in a little bit. And hopefully it sparks a little bit of interaction with you guys jumping in and sharing some of your opinions on it, because I think we talked a little bit before and we might somewhat be on the fence on it. So
yeah, no, I think this will be interesting. I am certainly no expert on electric vehicles, but
I don't think any of us are. Max probably the most because he is in ownership.
This is new to the market, man. Like when I started looking for even an affordable one, there's only a couple of companies that have any sort of longevity, and that's like 2012. You know, it's 10 years, and that's it. Like this is all of this is ramped up in the last, couple of years. So I think, opinion pieces on this is going to mostly be, but I did do lots of research when I bought mine. So I've got a tiny bit of knowledge, but yeah, in general.
Did you look in any others before picking that one, or did you just see that one and it was cool?
This was actually so I'll give a little backstory. So
tell what it is again.
Yeah. I've got a 2014 Fiat 500e, and it's a great story about the Fiat 500e. That car was, I can't remember the name of the guy who runs Fiat, but it was like his redheaded stepchild. He was not happy, but in California at that time, you had to have a certain percentage. And I want to say it was like 20%. And that could be high. I could be making that up, but of your vehicles had to be electric if you wanted to sell in California. And so all these car companies had to come up with an electric vehicle. It just so happened that the Fiat made a fucking great one. I mean, this is a great.
I could see them having like the good platform for, say, an electric vehicle because it's already small, light, nimble.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the batteries are going to add some weight, but
yeah,
again, it's so small that it could be packaged appropriately.
When they introduced it, and you bought one from Fiat, you got 2 weeks of a loaner car off their lot, a gas car, if you wanted to take like a trip. That's real.
Way.
That's not mythology. That's real. So
no way.
They were like super bummed, and they mostly had them for leases, and so they were just kind of losing money hands over fist.
Wait, for what time frame? Like the first year you owned it or something?
I think so. It was a lease. So if you leased it for 2 years, every year you got 2 weeks to grab an electric vehicle or a gas vehicle off their lot.
No way.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's wacky.
Well, I mean, I don't think it was ever designed to be some kind of touring vehicle. It was more just an in-city commuter.
It's exactly what it is. So when I was looking for one, these gas prices, as everybody's quite well aware, are skyrocketing. And in that first little bit, like I don't ever barely leave Fort Collins. It's just kind of where I play my music. I play in the nearest 4 towns. So I realized an electric vehicle would be great for me because I also have my 84 Volkswagen van if I ever want to go anywhere. So,
well, yeah, it's a good thing you're not a drummer.
Right. Have a van. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was looking at just kind of affordable electric vehicles, and what I found was 2 of them. I found the Nissan Leaf, and I found, actually, no, I think that was it. Because the Bolt is still pretty new as well.
Oh, yeah.
The Volt is a hybrid.
That's okay. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was really just the Leaf, and the Leaf had a lot of problems. They were
Whitney's aunt and uncle had a Leaf from new, and I know like They had a bunch of issues with it. I think they liked the car overall, but it was kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, the battery degradation was a real issue. And a lot of people, it degraded so fast that they got it covered under warranty, which was huge. But in general, like if you find they had like 75-mile range or an 80-mile range and like a 2017, sometimes they're down to like 40 miles. That's it. And so there's a lot of
40
things.
miles.
I know, it's just terrible.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I did look at a couple of those and I found a couple that I liked. And then when I was out in California visiting Chantil, who we had on last time, she's got had an Xterra, which, you know, is 20-gallon tank, over $100 to fill it up.
Yeah.
And so I was telling her, I was like, well, I just started looking at these EVs. I had actually driven a Kia Niro, which was fantastic, but it was $40,000, which I'm not doing.
Yeah. Yeah. You see people all the time, like go buy some insanely expensive electric car or something, like saying that they're going to save money, you know, from the high gas price. And if you actually do the math for what you're paying for the vehicle, like it would, you know, take you 30 years or something to actually save money over what you had before.
The people that say that are probably looking at like BMWs or Mercedes or Audis, where you're in that ballpark of first purchase to begin with. So in that way, it does make sense.
New stuff. Well, it's just like Max did. There's lots of options for
alternatives.
Older used stuff or older whatever that falls into the pretty cheap range, you know, where it does make sense.
Yeah. A lot of people, what they're doing is picking up those older Leafs because you can get them for $3,000, nothing. And they come with a 24 kilowatt battery. That's what came stock.
Not really a confidence inspiring price tag for
well, it's because the battery. It's because
modern
the battery.
technology.
Yeah, the battery.
Can you get
toast.
a cheap battery on Amazon or something now to make up for it?
I'll tell you where you can get a good UPS battery.
Yeah, in a
hey, it worked for my
what was that?
Iron
Your
Head.
Iron Head. Yeah. There's rumor has it there's still one of those running around in an Iron Head Sportster in San Diego with a 15-year-old UPS 6 amp hour battery in it.
No, I had to replace it.
That's funny. No, that's cool. I know it does make sense for a lot of use, you know, a lot of types of usage.
Yeah. Well, if you're not going far, it's great. I mean, that's just the dealio. It's just really the Leaf, and a lot of these cars have what they call that hyper port. You know, that's what Tesla uses. You can charge it in 20 minutes, you know, 80% in 20 minutes.
That's
Fiat,
crazy.
The Fiat does not have that. That did not come on my car. So it's really not, you can never use it as a commuter.
Did you put in the 220 volt charger for your house yet?
I have not yet because there's so many around town. When I go somewhere, I just plug it in, and for $1 you can charge for an hour, and it gives you about 50 miles.
Got it.
So you're basically getting.
Why do people? I feel like this is maybe a stupid question, but I don't know. I feel like I've seen this video a bunch of times where somebody's like charging a Tesla and they like hit the taillight or something with the charger. Do you know what I'm talking about? They like tap on the taillight or something. And then like the charger door opens, and then it looks like that's how you like open the charger door or something.
That's possible. I mean, Tesla's pretty handy that way.
But then if you could like hit it with anything, like that seems kind of dumb. But then I don't know. I just feel like I've seen this video on Instagram or something, and then who knows? Maybe it's fake. I have no idea.
Well, I just I talked to Colin, who has a Tesla 3, Model 3, whatever they're called.
Yeah.
And so he'd actually he did a road trip, and it's pretty unique. Like you can go into your computer, type in where you're going, and the Tesla
it'll plot out
where you should stop and charge. But dude, now he's saying, this is like stuff that nobody talks about. He'll get to this charging station in, let's say, Nebraska. So it's only a 20-minute charge, right? So people are like, oh, you just go get a cup of coffee. It's 20 minutes. Unless there's 7 Teslas in line waiting for that, one at a time. So
that's
now
for the
you're
like mega charger or whatever.
That's for like, you know, the one charger that they've put in Nebraska.
Do you have to pay for it when you use that charger?
Yeah.
You do.
It's
pay
cheap
for it.
though. It's pretty cheap.
Oh. Do you like swipe a credit card at the charger or something?
Well, I have an app on mine. You can't see my phone, but I'll hold it up. But like, I just walk up to the charger. I open up the ChargePoint app.
Yeah.
And I just tap the thing, and then it says, beep. beep, and it charges my card and says ready to go.
Oh, okay.
So I just installed my card into the app. It's really
what's
handy.
a full charge cost
For my car?
Yeah.
$2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's how long to charge?
That's 100. My car does about 118 miles.
But how long does it take for a full charge? If you went in,
Oh,
like,
mine
totally
is like
dead?
a solid 2 hours. Like I usually do it at the gym. I'll go there. There's a charge port
Okay.
outside the gym. So I'll plug in and go work out for a couple hours and come back and it's done.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
What does it take? So yours, when you charge it at home off the 110-volt charger in your garage,
Yeah.
how long does that take? Is that
Well,
like
in Colorado,
40
it's very
overnight?
inexpensive electricity here. And so they say it's about $1.25. But
Okay.
that's very
Full charge.
different.
And
Yeah.
how long does that take on 110? Like 12
Overnight.
hours or something?
It's
Yeah.
slow. Yeah. It's a slow process, but I plug it in and go to bed, and in the morning it's done. And I only do that. It's got regenerative braking. So when you're driving around town, sometimes it just takes forever to use up the miles.
Yeah.
It's the car hauls ass. So I love to just like punch it and, and then you can watch the battery.
Dude,
burn
you're
pretty great.
wasting electricity. I think how many
I know,
electrons
dude.
you're burning
I know,
doing that.
that's it. Just killing the coal.
It's a lot of electrodes to burn
Yeah.
up, but
Yeah. So I think there's, I think going back to kind of our, the opinion on it is I think it works for a lot of people. And then I think it's, everybody has to remember that it's just an option. Although it does seem like the world is trying to lean that way more and more. At least that's what it feels like to me when I read articles. Volkswagen is saying they're going to be fully electric by 2027 or something, but sometimes I think a lot of that is just not really
a lot
good,
of them
actually.
I mean, a lot of them, like even like states like California, they've said it 3 times now. This new one, new year date
Yeah,
set
that's
is like 2035, where every vehicle sold in California has to be electric. But
Yeah.
I mean, they've pushed that date back. Like this is
Right.
the second or
because
third
it's a
time.
huge thing to like say you're actually going fully electric. For
Well, yeah,
electric.
and not only
yeah.
that, the grid can't support
No.
support it at all. Like
Yeah.
even
Can't support it now. Yeah, can't
Yeah.
even support it now with air conditioning. It blackouts. Remember all those? Well, you guys,
Oh yeah,
you guys
California,
lived
holy
it.
shit,
Yeah,
all the time.
absolutely.
and that's nobody plugging in all their cars all the time.
Mhm.
Okay, so what do you? I feel like the most like contentious thing I see over and over again is people arguing about like a lot of people say they're getting electric cars to be better for the environment or whatever.
Well,
And then
that's
you
total
factor in
bullshit. That
then
is
you factor in
100% bullshit.
making lithium batteries and stuff and the impact that has on the earth. Is that actually worth the trade-off?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's used as a token to get people excited about, say, if they are concerned about environmental issues, that it gets them in the door. But yeah. The vehicle itself may be zero emissions, but what it costs environmentally to charge that vehicle, majority is still run on coal. And
Right.
I mean, really the only clean power source would be like solar,
or
wind,
or whatever, and
and
that's
even
certainly can't-
hydrogen. But I mean, hydrogen's still like somewhat of its infancy as far as of supplying power in that kind of scale.
I always think that's funny to hear like that opinion because it seems I don't know because you can find statistics that'll back up either side.
You
So I
bet.
have no clue what's actually true, but just to me, it seems to make sense that if you factor in actually manufacturing these type of batteries and stuff, I highly doubt it's actually a net positive for the environment. Maybe it is. If so, it'd probably be a pretty thin margin, I would think.
Mhm.
And then when you factor in like how you actually make the power you charge it with, by the end, I highly doubt you're significantly better than a gas vehicle. But none of that's my major concern at all. I just think it's interesting. I just see that argument all the time, and I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah, I've come in
arguing about something that
coming
I
on
don't
the
know.
other side of it, on the EV life, I instantly right away, like I pulled up and some of my friends are like, oh, what you think you're fucking saving the planet, but you're causing more damage. Blah. I'm like, yo, I just bought this thing because
Yo, it's
it's
a car.
$5 a gallon and I don't fucking want to pay it.
Yeah,
And I don't have any
exactly.
oil changes or anything. So after that, I was like, well, what is the deal? And so I did look around a little bit. And so right now the country gets 30% of its power from coal. That's it.
30%?
Yeah. You can Google
okay.
it. Google it. Right. You can Google it right now. And that is really on the way. It's on the way out. Like it's just starting to go, Canada has no more coal fired plants. Like they are moving away from it. And the other argument is,
interesting.
Listen, electricity is already here. It's not like they're building another coal fired plant for these electric vehicles. Electricity is already here. So you're just plugging into what already exists, whether you're plugging in your hairdryer or your electric car. Like you're pulling electricity from an already in place. So,
well, you're already consuming electricity that at your house is being supplied by some sort of plant.
Right.
So it's not like you're
right. So
the source or whatever.
So the real argument, and you just brought it up, the real questionable identity of these vehicles is the batteries. Like there's like, people are just shoving batteries into the ocean off the side of a barge which is not true, but that's, so, that, and there's like, there's a whole bunch of buyback.
There's a lot of like profit in recycling all those batteries too. No one's going to throw that in the fucking ocean.
Yeah. They're not going to do that. Like Nissan has a buyback program for your wasted 24 kilowatt battery underneath the Leaf. Mm-hmm. And you get like a core charge if you take it in.
Yeah.
And here, that's something that's pretty cool. So they comes with a 24 kilowatt, which was 78 miles, but you can replace it when you go in it's about 10 grand for the 40, which will bump you to 270 miles per charge.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
And they give you like $1,000 off for your 24 kilowatt. And then they recycle that battery and they use it to recapture power in storage off of their, whatever wind driven plants or whatever. So
yeah, I almost don't. It definitely is interesting. I feel like if we kind of tap into some of the possible environmental benefits of it, we can get kind of way too down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, there's no reason to go there. I mean, I think
that is far from my main concern. I just think it's something to discuss.
It's not really a concern of mine.
I'm not like a super environmental guy, so I'm not super interested either way.
Yeah.
I was really just pointing out, I think, how funny I think that argument is. Like, I think it's I mean, is it a legitimate thing? Of course, but I feel like most people, maybe I'm wrong, but most people probably get electric vehicles like you did because it made sense for the way they use it, right?
Dude,
they're not buying it to go say, I'm Captain Planet, like, fuck you, I'm better than you because of my electric vehicle.
Yeah.
But then everybody who doesn't like him is like, oh, look at this jerk off in his fucking, battery mobile. What an asshole.
Unless you're in the Bay Area, and then you definitely have that. You're like,
do you remember that South Park episode where everybody had a Prius and they drive around sniffing their own farts? Because
oh yeah,
you remember?
That in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yep, that was it. I think for me, like the number one reason is, I'm fucking tired of being, and this is how I feel, fucking shackled by the gas industry. Like, I can't even believe it right now. It's like, I've got some friends who are in the upper end of this whole business, and they're like, dude, there is a level in this oil and gas industry, and anybody above it, they do not take a loss. Absolutely will never. They will get their $20 million bonuses. They will get there. They don't say, oh God, it's so expensive. Well, let's let it trickle down. He's like, no way. I think
we're getting into a little bit of dangerous territory here as far as staying on topic.
Well, I mean,
it's on topic.
It's on topic. So I think the point of that was,
I think that's probably true. That's so entrenched. Like that's been around for so long that I would fully believe that, those dudes have set it up that way to be, and to be honest, I wish I was them because that's rad for them. If you're getting all that cash, like I want some of it, but never going to happen for me.
I could probably take that comment back. That's unnecessary. But what the reason I have this car is I just don't want to have to fucking pay this.
Yeah.
It's going to be $6.50 a gallon here by the end of the summer. And I just
filled up my truck today and I've been towing the boat with it, on this gas tank. on this tank of gas, and this truck has like for whatever reason, my F-150 has a 36-gallon tank, which seems insane for a half-ton truck, but it's massive.
Wow.
And I had to fill it up today, and it was totally on empty, like gas line on, and it cost $165 to fill up. And then I checked the mileage on this tank because the truck already gets horrible mileage. I've mentioned that before, but I towed the boat with a decent amount on this tank, and I got 8.2 miles per gallon out of this truck. And $160 to fill up. And I was like, I got to ride my bike a lot more.
Yeah.
This thing is ridiculous.
Yeah, you got to pedal power.
Oh,
man.
my God, dude.
Well, as far as should we just get into kind of the topic? I know we've kind of skipped over what's in the shop, but I don't know, unless you guys have anything kind of noteworthy you want to jump in. But
Evan, tell us about the Triumph.
Fighting my insane Triumph problem. That this stupid T140 I've now put back together the top end for the third time, and it is all new, dude. Everything, new gaskets, new seals, like everything. Used Yamba Bond on everything because the machinist guy that did the top end for me told me how he does it, and he builds 10 million Triumphs. So I followed his instructions like to the letter. And same thing. I wrote it today. I'd finished it last night, torqued everything down like it was perfect, wrote it to work today. Runs great. I mean, everything seems perfect. And then I get to work and it's just puking oil everywhere again. And then I take it apart. After it cooled down a little bit, I torque it all again, thinking like, oh, okay, it was just because I needed to heat cycle it.
Yeah.
Right at home tonight, same thing. I mean, just absolutely puking oil everywhere. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I hate working on this bike. It's the most miserable motorcycle I've ever worked on. And I'm just like, dude, I don't know what to do.
Sell it.
I'm like really debating just selling it because you know what I was thinking though? I bet I could trade it for a shovel head.
You're going to do better if you trade it. Yep. Absolutely.
You know what I realized? I'm just not a Triumph guy, dude. I like Harleys and BMWs. I think that's my sweet spot.
There you go. Just stick right there.
I think Triumphs are just not for me. They are not my motor, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm tapped out. I'm really frustrated with this thing. It's a total pain in the ass.
Yeah. I feel I've built a couple Triumphs, but nothing to what you're experiencing. That's your Triumph must have been built on the Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. It's really weird problem.
Yeah.
But like it's an insane oil leak. It's not just drips. I mean, it's absolutely puking oil.
Where's it coming out of?
Well, totally looks like it's coming from the head gasket, like between the head and the cylinder. But what's weird is there's no head gasket leak. The thing doesn't smoke, doesn't burn any oil, has tons of compression, runs like a motherfucker. Like there's no indication of an actual head gasket leak other than oil puking from
Could
what
it be
seems to
the
be between
push rod tubes? Because
I've resealed them now 3 times, and no, it does not seem to be dripping down the push rod tubes. I've had that leak before. That's actually what that and low compression is what prompted the whole rebuild in the first place.
Yeah. So, that picture you sent looks like it's coming from the bottom of the cylinder.
Yeah, it's not. It's absolutely not coming from the base of the cylinder. Like cylinder to crankcase, it's not the base gasket. That's rock solid. So it's coming down the cylinder for sure. At this point, I'm actually kind of thinking it's coming from the head, like rocker box area somewhere. But there's some like holes and stuff like in between the rocker boxes and down around the push rods. It's possible it's leaking up at the very top and then running its way down and then dripping down the cylinder.
Oh,
I don't know. We'll see. I might do a little more work to try and find it, but I'm pretty.
Well, maybe someone put some speed holes in the rocker boxes.
Dude, there seems to be holes everywhere.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds like
it's a pain in the ass, man. And it sucks because I really like the bike. Like riding it is great. It's a lot.
They're really they're a different experience than any other bike that I've never ridden.
I get why people are into them. Like they're amazing bikes to ride. They're a ton of fun. They like are fast enough and they handle pretty well. And like everything about it's awesome. It sounds good, but it's not worth it if it pukes a quart of oil every time you ride it.
And you had Billy over and Billy couldn't do it?
Yeah, Billy and I built it the first time after the rebuild. But what is so weird after all this? So the first rebuild that I did with all stock parts, I just honed the cylinder, new piston rings, resealed it. Was fine. It didn't leak a drop after that rebuild. Not a drop of oil. However, it burned tons of oil because I put the rings in upside down.
Oh, right.
So
right,
I
right.
screwed up the rebuild. There's no doubt about that. But I put 30 miles on it and it didn't leak a drop of oil in
Dang
30
it.
miles. So something has changed at this point between like that rebuild and then after I sent all the parts out to have the cylinder punched out a little bit and the head done, new guides and all that stuff. So I don't know. That's why I'm like at the point now where I'm like, okay, I think maybe it's like the rocker boxes aren't sealing or something, and it's like actually leaking around there and down into the head and dripping down or something.
Yeah. Well, at least that
I don't know.
is somewhat of an easy investigation.
Well, now that I know, I think that's where I'm going to focus now. Like I took it apart again and then checked everything and then redid it all. But this is not an easy motor. It's not like a BMW where you can have the head off in 30 minutes. Like this is 3-4 hour job, easy to get just down to the head removed. So
I don't know about that. I've done it in less time.
I probably can now that I've done it enough times, but I feel like 3 hours probably my average. So
just put some
I don't know.
AC/DC on and that'll get you moving.
Well, look, I'm not Brady Young. I know you could do this in like 30
No,
minutes.
it's not that I'm some kind of magician.
So wait, you're saying, if I'm hearing you right, you're saying you're a shitty mechanic, but you can do it really fast. So that means I'm an
I
extremely
didn't say I was a
shitty-
shitty mechanic.
Well, okay,
I said I wasn't a
maybe not
magician.
Yeah, talk about twisting your words around.
All right, I extrapolated a little bit.
I just haven't got my wizard staff yet.
Okay, but my point is you're implying that I'm a horrendous mechanic if it takes me 3 hours.
I don't know. I don't think I was trying to imply anything.
All right, maybe I'm just putting words in your mouth.
I know you're frustrated, so
I
I
am
was just
very
trying to
frustrated.
give you
Give me
some
a break.
encouragement. That's all.
How about you come out here and help me put it together?
Do you know
There
what?
you go.
At some
Look
point,
good.
I would love to do a trip out there to see you guys and
whenever
do
you
it
want.
in my Triumph when I'm done with it.
Oh, there you
And
go.
I think that's something that's very feasible.
Nice.
Do it.
So that's already something that's been in the works. Just I hope you don't have the Triumph still by then, but
I think it's very unlikely, but
you could trade it for a shovel head. He'll have a whole
Yeah,
other
we'll
sack
see.
of problems.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure
get
I'd
a
trade.
trouble
But you
head.
know what? I can fix a shovel head. I've
Yep.
already proven
Mhm.
that. Like
Yep.
I can absolutely fix a shovel head.
There
You
was
can
one
break
today,
them too and fix
I'll
them.
send it to you.
I'm realizing like where my skill set lies, and there's some bikes it applies to and there's some it doesn't. So
Mhm.
I'm okay with that. Well, I don't know. What have you guys been working on? That's what's been kicking my ass.
The past week I sold my Good Luck Tour is what the cross country trip was called. I sold
the
that
CB.
bike, the CB550 to a buddy of mine, which I didn't necessarily want to because that means I work
'cause
on
you'd have
it.
to fix it. Yeah.
So I've been going through that bike and it was just sitting. So I know everything was fine. There's like 5,500 miles on the fully rebuilt motor. So I knew it wasn't going to take it much to get it going, but I'm essentially like going through and doing like a mechanical rebuild minus the motor on everything else.
Yeah.
The main thing is I found some connections in the wiring harness that were just completely oxidized and were just brittle. And like I pulled just a hair on the wire, the connection, and it just fell apart.
Were you running the stock charging system on that?
No. So yeah, I did mention last episode after the episode that I had to replace the voltage regulator.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time when I built it, I had like a dual overhead CB750, the combo regulator and rectifier. So I just converted it to work for the wiring on there.
Got it.
And that worked totally fine, but it was the wire and it's the So on that harness, I'm pretty certain that I used some cheap ass wire, and it just couldn't take the heat of just a solder point.
Ah.
Oh,
So
okay. Did you like melt the wire?
no, it wasn't melted at all. It just, I think it was just shitty wire. Like it just had like a thin coating of like copper, and it was probably like stainless steel wire or something. I don't even know. But it's because it was only happened at those points where it was that same type of wire. And this was so long ago, I don't remember what it was. I hope I didn't put that shit on any other bikes. But
Go through your toolbox and throw it all away.
yeah. Oh, that's long gone. So I think it was
like
just
AutoZone
cheap
special,
wire.
or where was the wire?
It could have been, honestly. At that, it's so far back, I don't remember at all where I got it.
I've gotten some pretty bad wire from auto parts stores before.
Yeah, I try not to use that stuff. I at least try not to put solder if I have to use it.
Yeah.
So and then I looked around. I cut some heat shrink off a few other connections, and they were all oxidized just on one side where that bad wire, suspect wire, was. So being that it's to my buddy, I didn't want to have to do it again, and also I didn't want to give anyone a bike that they have to rewire, even though I priced it to where, I mean, expect to work on it.
Yeah, you didn't sell it at a price where you should have had to.
Yeah, but
anything,
again,
right?
it's to a buddy, and if he wanted to ride it, I'd have to work on it regardless. So
Yeah.
which I'm pumped he's getting it.
So is it already gone? He picked it up?
He's picking up tomorrow morning. So the
nice.
voltage regulator took a shit, and so that was the last piece. So I did the wiring. I just rewired that in there, but I had to rewire the whole bike. A couple other things. It was just kind of clean the carbs, typical shit.
Yeah.
This is the bike that you rode to New York, or a different one?
Mm-hmm. No, this is the bike.
Because that last guy backed out after he came all the way down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I ended up calling my buddy because I gave him first dibs. He'd been wanting the bike for a couple of years, and then I offered it to him first, but he just couldn't that day. And then the next day he could. He actually told me, he's like, well, if you sell it for X amount of money, take it. If not, I can buy it. Like whatever. He said like end of the week, but he said like, and it sold like 15 minutes after I talked to him.
Did you put it on our Instagram? Oh, it's on yours.
Yeah,
It's on his
on there.
Instagram.
That's right.
I got the bike running solid and idling well and charging now perfectly. So I'll do another video on it when it goes away.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's a cool looking bike.
Yeah, I'll send you guys a video. I might have actually, whatever, it doesn't matter. So yeah, so that's finally done. It was the last bit of wiring I had to do, and then he's picking up tomorrow morning. So I'll be glad when it's gone. And then I'm towing the Triumph to my house. I've been clearing out my garage, so there's a spot for it.
Yeah.
And that way I can have some more time to possibly work on it while it's here rather than at work. So I'm sure I'll have to throw it over there at some point and finish up some other stuff that I don't have space for in here, but I think I can build it in the garage, no problem. Like,
That's what a garage is for.
Yeah. I mean, it's like barely, it's not a 2-car. I mean, you can fit 2 like compact cars in my garage, but that thing is like a micro. So,
right. Well, now that you've freed up some bike room, you want a Triumph to replace that
There
thing?
it is.
another Triumph.
Yeah, come on. Oh yeah, dude. I think it's perfect fit.
Yeah, they are the Triumph cars. Those and Triumph motorcycles. They're completely different companies. They were never the same company.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever. They'll still get along fine.
They're both British.
Look, just pay me what I'm into this thing for, and it's all yours. It's real simple.
All right. How about
if I can walk away from this thing, like I'm
no,
happy.
no.
I love your idea of trading it for Shovelhead.
I may go ahead and just toss her up there and see if I can track down a Shevsky.
Yeah.
I'd trade it for a shovel. Like there's nothing on a Shovelhead that scares me. You know, I'm pretty sure I can fix anything on a shovel. This Triumphs, I've lost all confidence in my ability.
What do you got there?
Oh, it's a little.
You drinking Kool-Aid?
Yeah,
Yeah,
little peach, little
Little
watermelon
Kool-Aid.
schnapps.
little Kool-Aid and vodka.
What
a
Max, have you
cooler
done
aid.
anything on the BMW?
Yeah, I did. I got started. I got it. Well, Evan loaned me this nice lift, which is great, and so I got it up and in the air, and I got carbs off, cables off, dropped the oil pan, all the fluids out. I had to replace the rear tire because it wouldn't hold air at all. I wouldn't be able to
that
move it
thing
around.
was trashed. Oh my God, we tried to
dude.
get that thing off.
Good God,
That was a
process.
nightmare getting it off of the
Did
rim.
the angle grinder come out?
No, we did
got
do
it.
it.
Okay.
But even with the tire machine, it was some work.
It was
Oh
a bitch,
man,
for sure.
Yeah, even
it's
with a tire machine, I've had tires that were so rock hard that
It's so
I've had
rock hard.
to
Yeah.
Mhm.
just cut the bead band
Cut
or
the bead, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was planning on doing. Is just
Mhm.
angle
Oh my
grinder
gosh,
We got it, but it was.
I don't know if
tight.
you guys done that before, but it is sketchy.
It is.
I've never cut one. How do you do it without wrecking the rim? Like, don't you cut into the rim?
Well, you drop like just one part of the tire, or preferably like the whole tire in the bead drop in the rim, and then if you have help, that's great. And so you have either one person holding two spoons on either side, on both sides of where you're cutting, so it
Okay.
kind of opens it up,
Yeah.
and it has some tension on it. Or you can do one tire spoon with one of your knees holding it down, and then use your other to try to get in there. So you have to drop down.
Yeah.
You have to drop
Okay.
down from like the higher, like the top side of the sidewall, and then go
Mhm.
down into it,
Right.
so you don't nick the rim, or at least clear it.
Damn. Yeah,
It
that
is
doesn't sound fun.
sketchy because it catches instantly all the time. So you just have to be super slow and have a lot of like stationary force, like in your arms, like holding the angle grinder so it doesn't go away or get away
Can you
from
just
him.
Can you just cut like a slice in like the corner of it, and then use like
some
metal
10
snips? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking, and cut through the rubber. Would that work?
I mean, maybe I've always had
use a set
cheap
of like
10
bolt,
snips, so.
like bolt cutters. You know,
Right.
if you could get them around the edge of the bead.
Yeah, that's
You
not
just
a
use
bad
it to cut
idea.
a
That would
slit.
actually work fine.
Yeah,
I had a bolt cutter at my old shop too.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've cut all sorts of things with those.
So
That's-
anyway,
yeah.
and then I just got wicked busy with music. I started playing so many gigs, and every
Yeah,
band
you're playing all over.
was
again.
different, and every rehearsal was different, and different members to work through. So I got the oil pan off, all cleaned out, dropped the screen, cleaned all that, got a new gasket, put it all back together, at least underneath, and then now I leave on Friday, so I don't think I'll get
Oh yeah,
much.
you
more. I
got all
a
those parts from Euromoto though, right? Did
Tons.
You? I saw
I'm like
you placed a big order.
stacked.
Nice.
I got a new shelf that's just stacked with brand new BMW.
Oh,
parts.
Nice.
I was going to tell you. I got to tell Billy this too. Remember, I sent you those lighter carb springs.
Yeah, you got them.
So, yeah, I put them on the bike. Amazing upgrade.
Oh, good.
Absolutely. If you even think a little bit that the throttle is stiff on your, I mean, after doing cables and everything
Yeah.
else, if everything's perfect, but you still feel like the throttle is really heavy, 1000%. That was the best $20 I spent on that bike.
Sweet.
It was crazy because now the throttle still snaps back fine, but it's so light that you just like rip around on it. Like it's like no work. Before you're just having
good.
to crank the throttle. You're fighting those springs all the time.
Yeah, it felt
And-
really heavy to hold it.
Yeah. Super happy I did that. It was totally worthwhile.
Sweet. Good
Nice.
score, man. Yeah.
So, but I've never had a /7 that bothered me. I think it might be like a /5/6 thing.
Yeah,
Good.
we'll see. I don't remember my /5 being heavy, but I'll tell you when I got new cables and everything.
I
so.
didn't think so at first either, but after riding it for a while, yeah, it was annoying. Made it like
Yeah.
really wore your hand out. So going to the lighter ones, like super awesome
Yeah.
upgrade.
I did go back and forth on the I had a couple of, everybody's got a fucking opinion about everything. So I posted this
Yeah.
idea about,
Well, we kind of have a podcast about
I know.
ours, so
Yeah, but
posted this idea.
ours is right.
I don't know if you want to keep talking.
Yeah. I posted this idea about, I said I'm going to pull the transmission and the clutch and do the rear main and oil seal, and just because it's been sat for so long, I just felt like it could be dry, it could be cracked, and then flooded of like, no, mine sat for this long, and
really? The thought was not.
It was not instantly like people saying, yeah, that's a great idea. Some people were like,
so they really think a 40-year-old main seal that has not moved whatsoever in that time frame is going to be perfectly fine.
Yeah, people were like, no, just fire it up and run it, and then
well, I don't on that bike. I don't think that's unreasonable. Like, yes, you likely could run it, and it could be okay.
I guess, I probably didn't need to post the question because the reality of it is, I mean, I can't ride it right now. And I really want this thing to be inside out, all refreshed.
Yeah.
Refurbished, so when I'm done.
If you have no time frame crunch, then sure.
I'm just going to do it. I got all the parts. I'm going to do it. But people said, this doesn't make any sense to me, but they were like, if your rear main was leaking, if it was leaking right now, it would have leaked all the oil out. I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense because it's all the way. Like, what if it was leaking it?
The bike doesn't sit at rest with all the oil in the oil pan at the level above the rear main seal, right?
Right.
If anything, maybe the oil level at rest is like very at the bottom of the main seal.
Yes.
Or something. But so you might leak maybe a quart. I doubt that even much. But okay, that doesn't make sense.
So I don't know. I just I listened to let everybody rant and rave, and then I
wait. So you're saying you asked the internet for opinions and you didn't get a good
what?
That's so weird.
That's so strange.
Yeah, that just doesn't make sense. That never happens,
dude. It's so funny,
especially for an airhead, which is like the most contested, like bike for advice in the world, other than Harley's, maybe.
Yeah. So anyway, I plan on doing a lot of that when I get back. I'll start the rear main. I'll reseal the top end, do the carbs, forks, yada yada yada, all that stuff.
Rad.
Yeah, it's nice to be doing stuff on a bike, though. I tell you what, I'm pretty happy.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, so we jump into electric vehicles.
Yeah, back on track. Back into it.
How are we going to talk about this?
So I guess. I mean, because they're obviously motorcycles and vehicles that are kind of testing market or whatever, moving in the direction of full electric. I mean, it doesn't have to be full electric, but just electric vehicles in general. For me personally, I'm somewhat definitely interested in it, but and Max, while you were talking about your experience with your own, it kind of made me think of like, I don't think I would ever go say like, I don't know, electric as like just jump full in. Like that's just my electric is just what I do now. I think too, like as my like commuter, like absolutely. Like I don't see, I'm still interested in them and what they have to offer because I think it's pretty cool. But we have a good buddy that has a Tesla, and it's just so much fun. There is definitely something there, and even to the point where I looked into getting I think it was the the like crossover type one, for the Babe.
Who makes that?
Tesla.
Oh,
okay. It's their SUV looking one.
Yeah, It shares like 70-something% of the Model 3 parts, which honestly probably will still happen at some point. Not necessarily it because that taps into like my interest point of it, and how it would be used. But I don't think I will ever walk away from internal combustion engines because that's where my heart and passion and soul lies.
Yeah.
Something that is silent is like the total opposite of part of my desire for them. And I don't think they're going away at any time soon.
I've ridden electric bikes and it's not, the power's rad. I enjoyed that, but the noise was just strange.
Yeah, sure you just hear like chain noise.
It's not like a deal breaker, but it is a little weird.
Yeah, I haven't ridden an electric motorcycle, but not surprisingly, like when it comes to electric vehicles, like in cars, that makes sense to me because when you're in a vehicle, say in most cases, say for what you're using it for, like say if it's commuting or even some long distance traveling now, I want comfort.
Yeah.
On a motorcycle, I'm not looking for like ultimate comfort or like a little comfort. It's fine for me.
No, I think you're right. It comes down to commuter. Absolutely. Something I need to like drive in traffic every day or whatever. I 100% for it. But if it's something I want to have any sort of fun or interest in working on or having fun driving or whatever, I'm not saying they're not fun to drive, but like then I just don't have any interest in it outside of that.
Yeah. It's got to make noise, cause problems. And like for me, almost like the part of my passion for like combustible or internal combustion engines is like, I want it to like need me a little bit where I don't feel like electric vehicles. I'm talking more so like four wheels at this point. I don't have much any experience with two. It's almost like
have to need you.
It doesn't need me.
I keep coming back to this crap that I have to fix all the time.
Yeah.
Why? Because that's just what I do. Yeah.
Because there is, and I think all like both of you guys, and hope, or maybe a lot of the listeners too, would describe like a relationship with a car or a motorcycle as a relationship, not some kind of symbiotic relationship. Not something that I don't know. I mean, and not that like
I think that's
not the relationships need difficulty to say be a good one or survive, but there needs to be some kind of
better
connection.
Than others, but
there needs to be some kind of connection, and this is purely just my personal view. It's hard to connect to something that almost feels like it doesn't have any soul, like it's a moving computer.
No, I think that's a good way to put it. I know Max and I've had this discussion, like how many motorcycles have you sold just because like you weren't into it, like it just wasn't a bike that like did anything for you. And then there's some that are objectively worse bikes, but you're just, they are, you like them. So absolutely. That's a totally relevant piece of it. Absolutely.
And then I think that's kind of the main one for me. And say like, I probably will get a Tesla at some point, but it's for completely separate interests, or it's something of like just the like tech nerd in me. And also like,
I see that, but they seem more interesting to me than like a Leaf or like what we were talking about before.
Absolutely.
Yes. Very different.
Maybe that's just marketing, but it does seem more interesting to me. I'd be way more likely to get a Tesla than anything else.
Well, it seems like, I mean, aside from Tesla, like these other, and not just Tesla alone, I know there's other electric vehicle companies, like full electric. But with Tesla, at least, they were ground up designed to be electric, where say like Chevy and whatever other companies that have full electric vehicles, they're converted to be electric. And so without like you're missing, I think, like full immersion almost in like say an electric vehicle if it's something that's converted to be electric, rather than something that's ground up, purpose built to be full electric. I think that's
a big difference.
That definitely plays a role.
I was just looking at the because JJ was talking about this we were right on a long ride on Saturday, and our buddy JJ was talking about the Fisker. Have you looked at the Fisker?
I was just literally sending that to you. Have you ever heard of a Fisker?
Yeah,
they're not making a new one. The old one, right? Oh my God. That was like one of the worst vehicles ever produced.
Well, Fisker had an old model, right? Like quite a while ago called
Fisker
Karma or something.
Karma. Yeah, Karma.
Yeah, Karma. That's what I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
So JJ was talking about the Ocean, which is their new current model they're making called the Ocean. That's like an SUV kind of thing.
Still around. I thought that was just like a laundry company. Like it was just like to launder.
They came
money.
around in like 2008 or something. So I remember hearing about them years ago, and I was surprised to hear that still existed.
Yeah, well, that was the Fisker was a hybrid.
Oh, was it?
Okay. Yeah, it had like a 3-cylinder or something like that as like the generator.
Well, look up the Ocean. It looks pretty sweet.
The SUV.
Yeah, it looks cool. Looks like
Yeah.
kind of futuristic, I guess, but it's
Honestly,
interesting.
like it looks somewhat like a futuristic,
Oh,
like
wait a minute,
juke.
I'm out. Look at this picture of this guy on their website. Here, I'm gonna send you guys the link. Go to that page and just look at this guy. Just based on him, I'm not buying one.
Oh gosh, Henry Fisker.
Who is this guy? That's the guy that like designed it. Look at him. He's just like
Yeah.
it's electric. I'm not. I'm out.
I don't know. I'm gonna cut all this out. I don't even like talking about Fisker.
Well, I don't know anything about him. I just looked it up because JJ mentioned it the other day, and it is interesting. I mean, I don't know.
Why was this such a bad car? You said it's like the worst car ever. Why?
I mean, it was just it was just riddled with problems. It was obvious that like this is a company that's never actually built a car before.
Gotcha.
And it was like when it first came out, it was like $100-something grand, and
dang.
like even down to like fit and finish, it's like notorious for like being one of the worst fit and finishes on any vehicle scene. It was riddled with problems. Like the infotainment center would just like fail at a very high percentage.
Dude, at $100 grand, you have to save a lot of money on gas to justify it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I understand they were trying to
cost. I guess I have no clue. What's a Tesla cost?
So like a Model 3 or Y is like out the door. It's about 50 grand.
Oh, okay.
When you jump
More
into like the
reasonable, I guess.
S or the X, you're closer to like, I don't know, 70 or maybe 80 to 100, something like that.
I think it too. The 3 is like you can get it pretty cheap. You can get it if you just get the one motor, the single motor, and you can get it for like 40. But if you go dual motor and long range battery, and you get
I kind of see when I was like packaging it, it was like I kind of wanted the dual motor extended range or whatever.
Yeah.
What is dual motor? I mean, I know it means two motors, but what does that mean?
So you got one driving the front wheels and one driving the, so it's like all wheel drive.
Okay. Interesting.
That's what the Kersleys have, is they got the dual motor. But every time you add on, so it's like $37,000 base. It's like, okay, dual motor. Well, now you're at 55, and then you get the extended range. And now you're at 62.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of fun. You can go. It's really fun. You can go to the website and just literally design and click and add, and at the end, it shows your car. You pick the color, blue or black. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like Model 3s are the new Honda Civics in Southern California, or at least San Diego. They're
everywhere.
Everywhere. Or I guess like the new Priuses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that.
And honestly, like I do like them. I think they're actually a great vehicle.
I mean, yeah, I've only heard pretty good things about it. I'm still weirded out by a car that doesn't have like a grill. I don't know.
It's weird. Yeah.
That always, anytime I see that, I'm just like, it's so, I don't know.
And going back to kind of how like the big hurdle for me with the electric vehicle is like that lack of soul. Say if I were to get a Tesla, it wouldn't be because I want to like feel connected to it. It would be just out of like, I don't know, just my interest in like new technology and just it's a different experience. Like it's separate.
Well, but if I'm buying something to like
I looked at any other vehicle,
crush miles and be fairly cheap to drive, like I don't need to. It doesn't. I don't need to connect to it. Like if it does the job, like okay, for that, it's fine.
Well, I think it's also the biggest thing to consider with an electric vehicle is truly like it fits into a small niche of what you're going to use. Like if you're a family, you cannot just have an electric car. That means no more road trips, no more, driving up to the, it's like if you have let's just say you've already
that's not necessarily, maybe with yours, that's definitely true, but
with a longer range.
Yeah. But
if you have little kids and you pull up and there's 9 Teslas ahead of you, you can't have sit there for an hour and 50
I guess it
minutes.
depends on where you are.
I agree. I wouldn't do it either. It wouldn't make sense for.
But I think with the point I was making is if you already have a car, let's say like you have Whitney's SUV, Like you've got that handled, right? You've got that car. So now if the two of you are ever going around town, all the things you could do and not just necessarily spend the extra money on gas or whatever, then I feel like it kind of makes sense. And it just becomes, it fits in that little spot. Like, I think that's when they make sense. When people are like, I could never have this car. It's like, well, I don't think I would want it to be my only car because I want the freedom of.
For 99% of my actual driving, it would honestly make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Like it really would. But I like having a truck and I don't want more than one car for a car I drive regularly. So I don't do it. But actually it probably does make perfect sense.
Yeah.
Especially here in Fort Collins. Like, damn, of course you don't go down the freeway. You just drive around town. Like absolutely you can make one work here easily.
Yeah. And so for Brady, if you all have your badass Triumph and whatever other SSR or HHR you're going to get, and then you'll just have this killer car and you're like, hey, let's go out. Let's go shopping. Let's go to dinner. Let's go.
Yeah. So it would be kind of the family car, I guess.
Yeah. It fits in there. That's when they fit in there great. And you're not 100% reliable upon it. It just kind of like in my opinion, it kind of can relieve some stress of 8.2 miles to the gallon.
Yeah. When I pay 160 for a tank, it's like, dude.
Yeah, you could lease a car for 2 tanks of gas.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
I mean, absolutely.
Well, it's like the average in my area is like.
But I also get 1 tank of gas a month, typically. Yeah. So it's not like
you have 36 gallons.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Well, that's not that many miles though. This tank was actually 200 I think it was 270 miles to that tank of gas. But that's because of towing the boat.
Yeah.
So I'm going to switch to riding my motorcycle most of the time, I think, for the summer because it's just too expensive.
Yeah, Brady, what is gas in California? I hate to even ask.
Well, by my house, it's outrageously expensive. So I usually try to go fill up by work, which it's like 20 cents cheaper in Encinitas. I think the last time I filled up like 3 days ago and it was $6.39, I think, for 87.
$6.39? Oh,
for 87. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. Okay, let me look. I filled up today because I took a picture. It was for 85. It was $4.78 a gallon.
Wow.
Which for here is like insane, but I know
it's insane,
cheap compared to San Diego.
I can't remember the last time it was in the $4 range. I mean, that was easily like 2 years ago.
Yeah. I just picked the absolute worst time to drive my van cross country.
Yeah, seriously.
to California, which is the most expensive.
Yeah. It's just gas prices are increasing.
Oh, God. Oh, it's going to be brutal.
Well, I have a good question. What about, because I think I'm against this, but what do you think about electric conversions to, so like,
I've seen like Ford.
Every now and then you see, specific. Okay, let me be more specific. Electric conversions on rad old cars. Because every now and then you see like Porsche conversions, VW Bug conversions. I've seen Mustang conversions, and every time I see that, I'm like, it feels like getting slapped in the face. It was like Brady saying he was building his jet boat and not putting a big block in it. So that's what it feels like. I'm just like, God, that's a good so disrespectful. So I don't like it. I see that and I'm like, nope, put a V8 in that thing, or like let it burn something. Come on.
Yeah.
It just bugs me. I don't like it.
I think how I do feel about that is, say you're like the benefits of, say, kind of what I was talking about earlier with Tesla, like you're getting the benefits of like modern tech and it's surrounded by that experience. But when you put it into something old, you're taking away that life source that makes, say, that vehicle so great, and then putting the stale part of the drivetrain of electric vehicle into it.
Agree.
So you're pretty much on both sides. So say you took a Tesla drivetrain, put it into, I don't know, like a 912, like Porsche, something like that, what you mentioned. And so you're taking out the reason why that car is so great, and then putting in the worst part of makes that car so stale in the newer version of that Tesla
Yes.
and mixing them together.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like a short end of a stick to me.
I agree. It sucks all the radness out of it. You know what? It sucks so
Sucks
hard
all the
that it
radness
reminds
out.
me of, you remember at the end of Spaceballs when they like turn
Suck to blow.
when President Scrooge or whatever turns the like spaceship into the maid with the huge vacuum,
yeah.
and they suck all the air out of the
It's
planet.
funny
God, I
you
can't
brought up Spaceballs because the
it sucks that
Tesla
hard was my point.
Tesla Plaid
Yeah.
edition is directly
Oh, yeah,
pulled from
from-
Spaceballs.
Yeah, because they went past ludicrous speed.
Yeah.
Anyways, it
I
sucks
think
that hard.
the,
Is what I was saying.
What you said, Brady, like the tech geek is like, I guess part of me like admires that the fact that somebody can take a 63 Volkswagen bus and convert it and make it do something like that, like to install it all and make it all happen. I'm like, wow, that's
I
that's
admire
impressive.
the technical skill. Don't get me wrong. I think that's the
yeah,
ability to do that is badass. I'm not disrespecting that.
yeah.
But-
But I think
but
again, like to hear
Take a different car.
like the sound of the Porsche or the feel of that motor is, you just a
Well,
little
I
bit
haven't
like-
seen too many like original vehicles like getting converted to electric. Well, actually, I guess I have.
What do you mean original?
Because I have seen some Porsche, like older Porsches, getting converted, but they were kit cars. And I've seen like some AC Cobras,
Oh.
but they were kit cars.
Yeah.
So with that, like have your fun.
Yeah.
But
Well, Evan, didn't you send an article a little while ago about Ford is making an electric motor conversion? You can buy it. Wasn't that article?
Yeah.
It was like that
familiar.
78
I think so.
Ford, and it had an electric motor, and they were touting it
Yeah.
like, in pretty soon you're going to be able to go to Ford, and they will sell you this electric motor and the batteries
Yeah.
electric
out of the crate, and
motor.
you can go
Yeah.
home and take out your V8. And I was
mean,
like, ooh.
part of me wonders. So when I see stuff like that, honestly, my feeling when I see that is like, dude, they're totally misreading the
Market.
audience. They're misreading the market for that kind of stuff.
Right.
Because the guy with the sweet 70s Ford pickup typically is not going to want to do that. He's going to be like, my 351 is badass. Like, leave me alone. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not
Yeah.
going to put an electric motor
Yeah.
in there. That seems so out of
Or my 390.
place to me that's where they focus
Yeah.
on. But maybe I'm
Or it's
wrong.
going to
but
be a
I
fad
don't
like
think
the
so.
early 2000s ginormous green choppers where everybody's
God.
going to do it because it's so
I
cool.
hope
And then like 5 years later, you can buy a Ford with an electric motor for $1,000 because
no,
nobody
we'd
wants
be
them anymore.
sacrificing
Yeah.
so many rad 70s pickups.
I
Like,
know.
let's not
Yeah.
do that.
I know.
You know where I think the sweet spot is? Like, where I have seen electric conversions that I'm all about is there's a Facebook group or something that I was following. This has been a couple years ago, but these dudes converting old, like throwaway old motorcycles, just trashed dime a dozen, like
Yeah.
80s Japanese bikes and like not dual swords, but
Like
dirt bikes, and stuff.
Katanas.
Yeah, and they're taking those, pulling junk motors out of them, and the bike is just scrap anyways. And then they're doing electric conversions in those, typically with like zero batteries and motors and stuff. And I see that and I'm like, yeah, that's the place to do it. That's super cool. You're taking a bike that was worthless anyways, was pretty much junk, and then you're doing something interesting with it and giving it more life, and it's a cool project. That's where I would do one. I would
Yeah.
absolutely build an electric bike that way just for the project. But I wouldn't do it in a sweet like old, Camaro or something.
So it's
That's
kind of
where I
on
draw the
point.
line.
It's kind of on point too, but there was a quote that, and it was not related to say electric at all, but Jesse James, I remember a quote that he said, the bike builder, not the Western outlaw.
Oh, I
Gotcha.
God, I thought that the outlaw was commenting on electric motor. I'm glad you clarified.
He was buddies with Tesla. The quote that always stuck with me because I thought it was funny is everyone will cheer for a pig in the parade, but no one wants to take it home. And so kind of in that aspect is like, yeah, converting, say like that bike you just used as an example is, yeah, like everyone will cheer him on, but not too many people are going to want to.
It's
the
not-
market
it's not-
isn't necessarily
worth
there for it.
anything.
Yeah.
Well, no, you can't sell those. I mean, every now and then you actually see, I've come across it where people are selling their electric bike conversions on Craigslist and stuff, and they can't get $500 for them. And they probably have $2,000 in batteries and motors and stuff. But
Ouch.
nobody's going to pay for a home electric bike conversion. So I think it's cool as a project, but it's certainly not any sort of investment or money.
Yeah.
Maker, you know, like there's no way.
I think that category of person, this is just throwing it out there, is similar to the one, say, I think it was like early 2000s. Could have been a little bit later. Same person that was taking or converting vehicles to vegetable oil.
Yeah.
Kind of
yeah.
that
the
same,
diesel. I remember that whole
Yeah.
run.
the biodiesel. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody was running around grabbing oil from restaurants and
Mhm.
Yeah. Burning
so funny.
french fry
That
oil
totally
and stuff.
came and went. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, electric vehicles aren't necessarily going anywhere. I don't see that happening. And I'm excited for what future expanse of that
I think
world.
it'll keep getting cooler. I'm just,
Mhm.
I don't know how interested I'll ever be, but it may be at the point where who knows if gas prices keep getting worse and worse. Like I absolutely could daily drive an electric vehicle with like no impact to my actual like usage, you know, it wouldn't
Mhm.
bother me at all.
Yeah.
So at some point, yeah, that might make sense. But
Yeah. I think
yeah.
again
Yeah.
for people, for folks like us, like you're always going to have that 77 Firebird or the cool old Triumph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Even if
shovel
gas is
head and-
$20 a gallon, I'm still going to have one. I'll probably just drive it
Yeah.
less.
That's it.
Well, true, but I'm not driving that car 15,000 miles a year anyways, you know, I'm driving
Mhm.
it whenever I feel like it, but typically that's not tons of miles. So
Yeah.
It's not
I
that
mean,
big
my
of an
Triumph,
impact.
I am planning on daily driving it. But say if gas was outrageous and they're wanting to, I mean, it's already outrageous, but it's not past the point where I need to make some like serious changes as far as transportation. Yeah, I'll absolutely still, like I said, $20 a gallon. I'm still going to have some kind of internal combustion
$20 a gallon,
engine.
jeez.
That, I mean, that is
That's so
ridiculous. But
crazy.
I'm in California, so shit is
yeah, it's not.
ridiculous
It's
here.
possible.
Yeah.
Like,
Google
that's so
somebody.
nuts.
Here, let me look. Somebody Google what.
God, that's
Let's
crazy.
see. I saw something like gas in like England.
Oh, yeah,
gas.
it's probably insane in Europe.
I think it's like $17 a gallon or something like that.
Oh,
Well, they
wow.
do it by liters, which I mean, the last time I saw, say, like a ticker of gasoline prices was easily 10 years ago, and or petrol, I should say, and
petrol.
it was,
It's
I think it
always
was
been
like
insane.
4 pounds a liter, something like that. Like
How many liters
it's
are in
pretty,
a gallon?
don't do this to me.
Okay, let's not do it.
I don't.
Let's
I don't
see.
know.
6 gasoline prices. 1.756 per liter.
Yeah, I just saw
pounds.
I saw like this thing that said showed gas prices around the world, and even where we're at, we were still like way down at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean that's most every other country makes fun of Americans for bitching about gas prices when we've always had very cheap gas prices comparatively.
Yeah, but we need them for our rad cars. I mean, come on. We
Yeah,
have cars
exactly.
that need a bunch of gas. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, no, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. The gas price thing will continue to affect that, I'm sure. Whether or not it actually makes sense that you like get an electric vehicle, I think a lot of people will get scared with the high gas prices and start moving that way anyways, because theoretically it makes sense but I think a lot of times people don't do the math and see if it actually benefits them in their situation. But you know, who knows? I think it'll start having an impact. But
Yeah,
I've already
and it's
seen
still,
that.
I mean, it's new technology. I mean, it's as far as the market. Actually, I think the very first kind of conventional style vehicle, like back in the late 1800s or early 1900s, was an electric.
Oh yeah, it
vehicle.
was
That's
electric.
true.
I've seen a picture
Yeah.
of that or something.
I think actually Jay Leno has one. But so it's not the electric vehicles are this new hot thing. Well, it is, but it's not a new
No, but in the,
source of energy. But
in the 1800s, if you were able to, go a block away in your electric Model T or whatever, like that was probably
Yeah.
okay.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
The needs have changed a little bit. They also probably went 3 miles an hour.
I know that
If
we talked about this, and it's just total conspiracy and myth, but there's those conspiracy, the guy that got his carburetor to run on the fumes of the gas.
Oh yeah.
And then he was found dead in the desert or whatever. But like, I wonder if this will kick in because of all these cars going electric, if it'll kick in a new surge of 100 miles of the gallon car. I mean, that would be a big difference, if people didn't have to buy a Prius. They didn't have to buy if they could find a.
You guys need to see. Have you heard of this dude named? His name's Luke something. He's got a YouTube channel called Thunderhead 289. You ever heard of this dude? I don't remember his name.
I'm looking him up right now.
He's Finley. He has a killer YouTube channel where he used to do like car rebuilds. He'd find old cars in a field and like get them running again and stuff. He's a amazing mechanic, like really top-notch mechanic. Anyways, he's got a recent video series he did on running he's got a Maverick.
It was like a single barrel, like
dude, literally a launmower carburetor.
Yeah.
And he was getting 70 miles a gallon running a V8 on a single barrel lawnmower carb. And it started like this huge, thing about like, is it legit? Did he, was he lying about it? Can you really do it? And then if like Big Oil was gonna like take him out for like saying this was possible.
Oh my God, he has a million videos.
Yeah. But anyways, you should check it out. His stuff is really cool. But he did it, and he literally was able to do 70 miles a gallon with I think he had a 3D printed intake and then a lawnmower carb, and he got it working with a 289, I think, or some small V8 in a Maverick, and was able to reliably get that kind of mileage out of it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Will it run lawnmower carb on a V8? The impossible becomes 1,900 comments.
It just like blew up, man. So
yeah. Well, there's also like hydrogen conversions too that is possibly a viable, say, future fuel. Hydrogen definitely doesn't have the same ring as electric. And it comes with some precautions and fears as well.
It's really clear what we need to be doing, and that's using the Fuel Shark. Do you remember those? Do you guys remember the Fuel Shark?
Is that where it shows you like the cheapest fuel in your area or whatever?
No. What is the Fuel Shark?
You the Fuel Shark?
Okay. No, I remember the vortex, the one you put in place, like
you put it in your intake or whatever, and it's supposed to like turn the air into a tornado.
Tornado,
like
atomizes the fuel, so it's
okay. That might have actually done something, even if it was like totally insignificant. The Fuel Shark. So just Google Fuel Shark. You'll find there's a Jalopnik article about it. It's hilarious. It's literally a little plastic thing that plugs into the cigarette lighter. And when you plug it into the cigarette lighter, the circuit board inside, all it does is turn an LED light on.
It looks like a Christmas light.
They sold it and advertised it as this magic fuel saving thing because it somehow stabilized the power output in your car and was able to there's all these insane
they sell it on
crazy.
Amazon.
Look at the marketing.
Look
at the marketing
TV.
stuff for it. It's insane.
Fuel Shark will let you save on gas by plugging them into your cigarette lighter. You will start saving gas consumption by 30% immediately.
30%.
Fuel Shark has electronic components that connect electronic. Oh my gosh.
But look at the picture inside the Fuel Shark. It's a resistor and an LED. That's it.
Do you remember the magnet craze where it was supposed to like harmonize like the energy waves? Like people made like bracelets and put them on there, and then they also said like put this on your fuel tank and it'll filter and clean the energy waves of the fuel, and you'll get better gas mileage.
That's magnets, dude. I mean, that's real. They're natural.
Yeah, it's accurate.
Yeah. Do you
I never
remember
even heard of this.
Brady,
Oh my God.
you
No,
probably remember these guys. Do you remember when we used to record Motorbike Mondays in my warehouse? And next door there was those crazy hippie dudes that had the yoga studio, yoga retreat or whatever. Do you remember those guys? I don't know if you ever met them.
Yeah, I remember you talking. No, I think I remember you talking about them. Yeah, I absolutely.
We hated them. They were the worst neighbors
yeah.
I've ever had in my life. They were insane. But I
Mm-hmm.
remember one time, this totally reminded me of these guys. There was the insane hippie dudes next door who always got mad at us for running motorcycles, and we were poisoning them with our exhaust and stuff. And I remember one time we went over there because we were fighting about noise and motorcycles and stuff, and we were over there fighting. And then the guy was showing, for whatever reason, was showing me around his yoga studio. And they literally, I'm not even joking about this, in the corner of the studio on the wall on a little shelf was an old Linksys wireless router with the two antennas sticking up. Okay.
Yeah.
He absolutely had a old ancient Linksys router plugged in so the LEDs were blinking. Was no internet connection, just a router there. And then he had the whole thing covered in aluminum foil in a little triangle on top. And then he gave me this 10-minute lecture about how it was a positive neutron generator or some bullshit like that, and how it was custom tuned to generate these like positivity waves or something, and total straight face, absolutely whole lecture about it. And you could tell like he believed it, and I'm just like dumbfounded, like my jaw dropped, and I'm like,
yeah,
dude, that's a fucking Linksys WRT 340. Like that's just like, this is insane. Dude, you realize that's an old wireless router, right? And he just like, no. I mean, that's what it used to be, but once it's been reprogrammed, it's a
reprogrammed
generator. Blew my mind.
No,
he totally, he was not.
Love it.
This was not a joke. He was not exaggerating.
I would love to see his
Holy
search
shit,
history and see what kind of forums
I wish I had that
into.
like recorded, because it was the most insane thing I've ever heard. And I was like, well, you might want to like crank up the amps on that, because I'm not feeling very positive every time I have to see you guys.
Yeah.
So it was totally nuts.
Positive
Anyways, that made as much
generator.
sense as the fuel shark was my point. All right. Well, anyways, you guys got anything else to add about electric vehicles? I don't know. I've said probably everything I know about them, or my opinions.
good.
Anyways, you got anything else, Brady?
Yeah, that was fun.
I mean, I think, I guess in conclusion, we'll see. My off the top of my head conclusions make me feel good sometimes. So let's see if this one works.
Wrap it all up.
There's definitely a market and desire for it. That's obvious. I don't think the internal combustion engine is going anywhere. Not for a couple generations. One, the grid in majority of places, let's say just in the US, are not set up or can even handle a portion of it. Yep. No, I'm not feeling this conclusion.
All right. Well, on that note.
No, let us know. Email us at contact@allwheelspodcast.com. Jump on our Instagram. Maybe we'll put something when this comes out, as far as, I don't know, maybe post your Fiat.
Oh yeah, you should put a
EV.
picture of that bad boy.
I will. Yeah. I'll put a sweet little picture up.
If you can, try to do a burnout.
Oh, that'd be
in
sweet. I believe that.
Yeah, it
No.
does.
The thing weighs nothing. It
It's
must smoke
insane
tires.
how it does.
Well, you've
Dude.
got your winter tires on it now, don't you?
No, I put summer tires on. I put some just all seasons. Yeah, dude, it smokes.
Yeah, that
You
thing's
just
probably
punch
like
it
a
and
go-kart.
it
No.
feel like a door.
See, that would be hilarious for me.
Yeah. I'll get a little video of it. I'll
And
put
not
a
in
video
a
of it.
not in a bad way. It's just it still like taps into that like unexpected funny kind of sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, burnouts are red in anything. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Well, I guess I don't really have a awe-inspiring conclusion for this episode, but
No,
that's all
but
right.
that's okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah, check out allwheelspodcast.com, and we're All Wheels Podcast on Instagram, and contact
And Facebook
at
now.
allwheelspodcast.com. Yeah, and I set up the Facebook page. Did you get the invite thing for it,
I
Max?
did. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. So we
I'll
need to
start
start sending
posting
that out.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll do that. Hit us up on Facebook. Yeah, and then we'll see you next week.
thank you.
Good night.